Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Why, hello there.
Welcome aboard, guys. We want to thank you guys for your support over on Patreon, Ko-Fi. Again, also with YouTube memberships. Couldn't do it without you guys.
Indeed, we are very grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
What's this guy? Well, this is a representation of a Chitauri. And, if you look at this entity right here, this particular one, this particular statue comes from Japan. However, there are descriptions of these reptilian alien beings in Africa that look exactly like that. And, we actually have statues of these beings. The Chitauri appeared in great flying vessels that emitted a terrible noise, crossing fire in the sky. These beings told humans that they were the great gods of heaven, and they would be in charge of giving them great gifts. These gifts included a loss of any mental capacity they possessed. They no longer had telepathy, as humans did have telepathy in the previous Bronze Age, and of course the Silver and Golden Age that preceded those. So that was gone, nor the power to travel spiritually or to see the past and future. They were replaced by the ability to speak. And also, this new ability divided them as the Chitauri went about creating languages and dividing the tribes, which is alluded to in Deuteronomy 32:8. And also, it's also in Psalms. And it's also, again, in Plato's Critias. So you see the same thing time and time again. Reptilians, 9 foot, 10 foot tall reptilians that come, some with horns on their heads, wings and tail. This is where we get our idea of demons from, at least part of it.
Oh, I think I want a new Chitauri doll now.
Oh,
how cute.
Little comic relief there. Yes, just to take the tension away, because here we go. This is from yesterday. Rare interstellar object the size of Manhattan. Could be an alien probe, so say Harvard scientists. How many alien beings could be inside that alien probe? Well, this is 31 Atlas that was discovered on July 1st, speeding through the solar system at 140,000 miles an hour. And you have Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb suggesting that this object, only the third interstellar object ever detected, meaning coming from another solar system, two R's, could be intelligently directed alien craft observing Earth, possibly with hostile intentions. As it's coming within the orbit of Mars, it's going to come and pass between Mars and Earth. If its trajectory doesn't change, it may very well change. We shall see. The hypothesis in question is that 31 Atlas is a technological artifact and furthermore has active intelligence. If this is the case, then two possibilities follow. Dr. Loeb, Adam Drowell, and Adam Hibbard wrote in a paper published this July 17th. First, that its intentions are entirely benign, and second, that they are malign. Oh, wow, okay. So they're good ETs or they're bad ETs. Well, thank you for that. The paper presented several anomalous characteristics of the object, which could indicate it's not a comet at all, but instead a directed craft. This by the New York Post, by the way. One of the most puzzling observations is that it has significant non-gravitational acceleration, while having now cometary outgassing. Loeb writes that 31 Atlas approaches surprisingly close to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter with a probability of 0.005%, the paper claimed. Its low retrograde tilt would seemingly allow it to access our planet with relative impunity. The retrograde tilt means attempts by humans to intercept it, or even more difficult, rendezvous with it, are extremely challenging, while the route simultaneously gives 31 Atlas easy access to certain key target planets. This is curious. That shows intelligence, does it not? Loeb further suggests that the tilt and pathway would allow the intelligent life on the object to gather astrometric measurements to determine the orbits and masses of solar system planets, allowing it to prepare an optimal approach strategy to the solar system. Another smoking gun is 31 Atlas will come closest to the sun on October 29th, the day the object will be completely blocked from the Earth's view by the sun itself. So at its closest approach, we won't be able to see it. Oh, wait a minute. Isn't there a prophecy about like a dragon or something appearing that was blocked by the sun? I think there is. This is a picture of it. It looks like a string of pearls, doesn't it? Sort of. I mean, colorful pearls.
What are they gonna say? They're just it's at some point people are gonna have to realize, people are gonna have to know, and at that point when the sleeping masses know, it's gonna be a little weird for a bit.
Yes, it's going to really shake the fundamentalists in particular. They're the ones you're going to have to be careful, keep from jumping off of bridges and all that. Remember Orson Welles, War of the Worlds. It's serious. It was serious. People were just panicking. The paper presented it as part of a pedagogical experiment, embraces the dark forest hypothesis regarding alien life, which assumes that other intelligent life would likely view Earthlings as a threat to be snuffed out. Oh, okay. Well, again, what we've gotten, again, through channeling and through meditation and remote viewing is, yes, it is indeed. This particular object is a ship. And again, yes, there are reptilian-ish hybrid, I would say, right, is what we got on that one. As was the case with Oumuamua. And Avi Loeb, the same Harvard professor, also felt this could be a ship. By the way, Avi Loeb, this is him here, Israeli and American theoretical physicist who works on astrophysics and cosmology. Again, this is an insider's insider, without a doubt. You don't get more inside than this. And you could go through everything he's done. He's done a lot. He's published a lot of papers, and he's definitely in the system. He's a very, very important scientist. Going all the way back to 2017, he was talking out about Oumuamua's unusual shape, perfect for interstellar travel. Exactly what it did was exactly what you would expect an interstellar spaceship to do. And here with 31 Atlas, we see, it doing exactly what you would expect it to do if it was an alien reconnaissance ship coming to check out the composition and what's happening with the inner planets. Yeah, very interesting. This from Carrie Cassidy. Alien craft incoming, and it is the truth from what we can see, feel, and observe. Again, humanity is awakening. The pineal glands have been purposely deactivated. Just look to the fluoride. You don't really need to go too much farther than that, but you can, and you'll find more and more evidence that everything about this society has been about keeping our consciousness down. This looks like the sky is on fire. Well, this is that famous incident in 1561 in Nuremberg when big craft and what looked to be drones were having a huge battle in the sky, which literally caused explosions. It caused things that were flying to come down to the ground and crash, and it literally caused the sky to appear to be on fire. Can you imagine if a big ship was blown up? I mean, we're talking gigantic ships. The people are running around thinking, God and Satan are having a battle up there. Well, the reality is, yeah, sort of, because again, it's all about mistranslations and misunderstanding. When you go back to, also, you could look to Haim Eshed, another Israeli general and former space security program head. And he came straight out after retirement and said, the Galactic Federation is real. It's absolutely real, already in communication with Earth, and it's been collaborating with major countries. Now, this to me is part of the biggest deception, because what they're going to do, and just straight out telling you what I've always felt they're going to do, kind of like an inner knowing, is they're going to they're going to make the bad guys look like the good guys. They're going to tell you that the fallen Pleiadians, the Nords and the Greys, etc., that have been working with that worked with Hitler, going back to WW2 and even before WW2, that they're the good guys, that they're the Galactic Federation. The real Galactic Federation is non-physical in our sense. The ones that we would call the Galactic Federation are light body plasma beings. They're not physical. There are beings that are more in alignment with the creator of this universe. Let's say, they want to go by natural law and go by, the original intention, which does include non-interference. You let beings develop in their own time, etc., etc. And if there's interactions, again, you don't want to interfere karmically. And of course, then we have the other ones, the ones that come and conquer. Again, the Hindu world, they're called the Asuras. And, again, the ones that came here, not just from Nibiru, but from other places. Again, there's so much, this is such a big, multi-dimensional, many solar systems are involved, many star systems are involved. This is gigantic. And literally, the Draco that came here and created an AI which has enslaved them, by the way, came from a different universe in the very, very beginning. So they had opened a portal, a wormhole, and came into our reality. So they were not part of our original programming per se. And the Dark Matrix was not part of our original programming. This is, again, information that we've gotten for many years of channeling and conversing with, again, Galactic Federation forces, etc., etc. The Galactic Federation is not working in a physical sense with, again, the geopolitical leadership of this planet that's been in place for quite some time since the planet was taken over. The way that they would operate is by having beings incarnate in the physical, and which means that you do lose some of your memory and exactly who you are. So, this is what the higher densities, fifth density, and lo and behold, all those starseed light workers that we talk about, probably the vast majority of our regulars, you are higher density beings that chose to come down in order to help change the planet on, as far as the system on the planet, and awaken humans up to the fact that they've been being used as a resource and a tool. So, this is part of their big reveal. The next play they really have after the things we know that are coming, the World War, maybe some other sort of lockdown that's much bigger, a banking collapse again. The usual stuff is showing us ETs, but they're going to be the ETs that have been behind the scenes manipulating people the whole time. They're not. Repeat, they are not the real Galactic Federation. In our density that are physically embodied, there are certain avian, and we talked about that before. There are certain avian beings that are in our density and just above our density as well that do protect us. And this is a lot of why we have the eagle as a symbol. But the eagle has been usurped. They usurp everything. Again, when kings and queens in the old days would have certain titles, Duke of Wellington, etc., etc., they get defeated, and the other royalty that takes over takes the titles. This is what these beings did. So if we go back and call them Chitauri, again, going back to the reptilians, they gave us all the classes. They gave us the class system. They gave us kings and slavery. They gave us monarchies. Again, monarchy, kingship came from on high. It came from reptilian origin. That's the bottom line. So this is part of the big understanding. And this is also why they have a lot of disinformation channels out there too that are giving you 90% accurate, 95% accurate But that 5 to 10% that's not accurate is going to enable them to give you beings, show you what we would call fallen Pleiadians and some other beings, and pose them as the Galactic Federation. This is why now there's dozens and dozens, hundreds of Galactic Federation channels popping up all throughout YouTube. It's the next phase. There is a real Galactic Federation, but it's not a military operation. This is the thing to understand. It's not military. These are the benevolent beings that are the ones that we call the shining ones, the bright and shining ones. These are beings that appear to us as light, as shimmering lights that would transfer knowledge to us. Again, they're a light-bodied being, and it would be knowledge that we could help us understand how this reality works. They do not give us kings and queens. They do not instill geopolitical systems, or of course they wouldn't instill monetary systems either. So this is part of the great last attempt to again steer humans into following the wrong beings. And again, the real galactics, they don't want us necessarily to follow them. They just want to give us understanding and tools to operate with. This is Paul Hellyer, no longer with us. He long insisted aliens have visited Earth and even have made deals and would give us more technology if we would be more peaceful. Again, we're not going to be more peaceful when the system is not even operated by humans. Again, I turn back and say, go check out the Hindu books, because I know a lot of people seem to have an aversion to Hinduism, and it very well could be because of dark attachments that want to keep you from understanding that ultimately there's nothing more real than consciousness. This right here, in the Rig Veda, 432,000 humanoid races in the multiverse. Again, the fact concept that it was a multiverse, that there's many universes, this is all understood in the Vedic texts. As well as the fact that we're living literally in a holographic projection, and that there's so many different beings around us all the time. Do check out Paul Wallace, The Fifth Kind. The Elohim, it's in the plural. This was never the creator of this universe. Again, what this is, these Elohim tales, and this is Mauro Bellino, he's a Vatican translator that comes straight out and tells you what you have right now is not what it originally says. It's again, it does allude to the original creation of Tiamat, the destruction of Tiamat, the recreation of Earth from Tiamat, but then also the takeover, the Garden of Eden situation, and the fall of man, the fall of, again, what they call the fallen angels. You got to realize, to a dark evil system, light is evil, and it's the inverse, so you have to recognize that the history is written by the victors. And again, go back to that original story from Africa, which is not just from Africa, it's from all over the place. We see the same stories popping up time and time. The evidence is all around us. Again, look to John Levy and so many other great channels that show you, hey, there was high advanced technology, far more than we have here in our time. Obviously, we are talking about ultra-terrestrials. Mauro is suffering with some health issues. But again, he's a Vatican translator who has come out and said, this is not about God. Again, it's literally the mighty ones that come from the sky and that take over the planet. It's in plural. So, they impose a belief system which is complete negative. It is absolutely, totally narcissistic abuse. And Cindy, has elaborated on that in the past too. The whole concept of original sin and disobeying the mighty ones, it's that right there is something that's so negative. It puts humans into a space where they can't expand. When you feel sad, when you feel down about yourself, your solar plexus chakra and your heart chakras are going to close off. Chakras are a reality. 30 years ago, I got grief for talking about chakras. Oh, woo-woo. No, it's reality. It's been scientifically proven, finally, true science. You know, we've had pseudoscience. They have given us the pseudoscience to cover up the system that is in place. Again, the Bible is about the takeover of this planet by these dark reptilian forces. And when you look to the real teachings of Yeshua, who was a very real being, obviously they would be wiped out in the first couple hundred years after he was actually here. And that's exactly what happened with all the Gnostic books. You know, they wiped them out. And the books that lean towards a Hermetic, Kabbalistic, more of a mystery school approach, and there are only mystery schools in the West because the church went about wiping out everybody who went against it. So yeah, absolutely, we already are eternal beings. And again, Paul, he was an archdeacon. You know, he went through all of religious school training that he was a pastor. You know, our Wayne Steiger went through so many years of religious schooling as well. And he knows what the big situation is. It's just, you know, it's a matter of getting the people that would actually carry out atrocities for the dark system to realize that they're not supporting the light. They're supporting the darkness. And it does make a difference what you believe.
It truly, truly does. And, you know, when I see pictures like this, I see creatures hug and love on each other like this. They're not looking into their different belief systems. They could really, it's not even on their radar. They just simply love. They just live and they expand as needed.
Yes, absolutely. You know, a fear-based belief system that is, you know, based on the fear of punishment is not from the creator of this universe. It's just a too lower a frequency. And that's something that those that have developed spiritual practice understand. They understand that, you know, love doesn't come at the end of a whip. Absolutely not. It doesn't come from any shedding of blood. Absolutely not. And it's time for humanity to wake up and realize that really the key is compassion. And when Yeshua told the religious authorities of his days to get behind me, Satan, he would be saying the same thing to the Vatican today, and he would be saying the same thing again to any religious authorities that believe that there's only one way. And, you know, as far as a dogmatic approach, because again, the kingdom of heaven is within you. So that should be just self-evident. Mm-hmm. And we know that in any other age. So, and, you know, actually at this point in time, I think there is a plurality of people now that are on their way to knowing that, or they already know it. So the paradigm is shifting, the tide is shifting, the light is truly dawning on the planet, and it's just a matter of time.
Mm-hmm. All we need to do is just help each other get there.
Please do like, share, subscribe if you find this type of info interesting and it doesn't threaten your dogma that has been implanted in all of our brains. But again, I know, you know, the regular listeners are well past that. Again, dogma divides, love unites.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.